the talking between Kamala Harris and Tim Walz?
Ooh, that's an interesting perspective on that.
Yeah.
I would hope she does most of the talking.
I would hope so, too.
Are you going to ask me if I'm excited?
Are you excited?
Yeah, Colorado and North Dakota State, 7 o'clock tonight, ESPN. Damn right I'm excited.
Now, normally that matchup wouldn't do much for me, although North Dakota State is
yes.
really always good and wins that division. What is it? Division
Something
2 or 1AA or whatever
it is.
But Deion Sanders, the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, he's always must-see TV.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool.
And yes, I'm intrigued by the interview tonight as well.
Yeah, I hope Dana Bash just asks most of the questions of Kamala Harris. Tim Walz is just a little superfluous.
She should just introduce him. This is my running mate. Now, what are your questions for me?
That might work. That might work. Anyway, we will preview that throughout the morning. We've got some special guests, expert analysts, and more. WOAI News Time, 5:15. Hello, Kemper, Tim, Echo 5, RK. As you can tell, we were late in getting the video stream going. And we're having a problem with Tim's camera, but we're going to work on that.
I don't see today's. You? I don't see today's up here. Are you on?
I found it.
You did?
Yeah. You want me to send you a link?
Yeah, well, because I searched 1200 WOEI. I see yesterday's and the day before's.
All right, let me send you a link if I can. Let's see. Share, I can. Copy. All right, emailing it now.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, dude.
Here it comes. All right, click, sent.
Do 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 do.
Good Friday Eve to you, Kemper. Yes, it is Friday Eve. Thank goodness.
Berry Eve.
It's Berry Eve. Good point. We'll try to get Tim on this.
Oh, that's all right.
Screen here in a bit.
Man. I know what I look like. Well, Travis and Rooster are not in here.
Yeah, we got emails from Travis and Rooster saying, "Where's your stream?" Well, see, I told him it'd be up by 5:30, which was true, but we're up earlier than that.
Good morning, Kemper. Morning, Tim. Morning, RK. Morning, Echo 5 Hotel.
Thank you, RK. Just ahead of headlines, traffic, and weather together, then we have a talk back question for you. By the way, the YouTube stream is up and running. We got a couple of emails at the top of the show saying, where's that YouTube stream? Well, go to YouTube, look for 1200 WOAI. You will find us. RK, Kemper. I see Tim, Echo 5 Hotel, Rooster, Jacob. A lot of people already in there. Charity McCurdy, what stories are you following?
Well, tonight's the night Kamala Harris sits down with her running mate for a joint interview with CNN. Arlington National Cemetery is confirming a photography-related incident happened during a visit by former President Trump on Monday, and a dozen people are now facing charges of firearms trafficking in the San Antonio area. We'll have details coming up. Right now, traffic and weather.
It looks like we could see a little more rain, especially this weekend. We welcome in News 4 San Antonio meteorologist Jeanette Kaye. Good morning, Jeanette. Thanks, Jeanette. 74 degrees here at the Radio Ranch. WOAI News Time 521.
San Antonio's first news. Mr. T, Charity, I'm Chris. And tonight is the big night on CNN. Kamala Harris's first sit-down debate. She's bringing her vice presidential candidate, Tim Walz. Dana Bash will do the interviewing. And Charity, I know certainly Donald Trump and a lot of Republicans do not like CNN. Obviously, they seem to dislike MSNBC more. CNN, I've heard some of his correspondence. I saw one of them over the weekend saying that they try to be the more objective television cable news station. Caitlin Collins was on Real Time with Bill Maher talking about it. You know, obviously Fox News is to the right, MSNBC is to the left. CNN has been perceived to have been to the left, but they're trying to at least put it out there that they're more toward the center. What do you expect tonight in that sit-down interview?
I think there will be some tough questions asked by Dana Bash. And, you know, keep in mind, CNN got a lot of credit from Republicans as the moderators, Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, for the Biden-Trump debate. So they are attempting to kind of rehabilitate their image. And I think Kamala Harris will be asked some uncomfortable questions tonight. I don't know how much talking she will do, considering that her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, will be there with her. I think it'll be very interesting to see how willing she is to talk specifics when it comes to policy, because that seems to be the big question mark for people. Because even if you go to her website, there's nothing about what Kamala Harris or Tim Walz stand on specific policy issues, namely border security.
I just wonder, will we get a straight answer from her, or will it be like a typical politician's answer to a question? You know, I ask you about the economy. Well, yes, people are spending money every day. The economy is part of it. I just want to tell you about something. You know, Come on, answer the questions.
Agree. Yeah. So we have a question ourselves for our listeners this morning on the Talkback feature. What question do you want asked tonight of Kamala Harris? And you could expand it to Tim Walz if you want, but certainly Kamala Harris is the focus. If you were interviewing them, if you could have Dana Bash or yourself ask one question of Kamala Harris tonight in this interview, what would it be? Charity, how do people get us their questions?
The free iHeart Radio app. You search 1200 WOAI. Look for that red circle. That's the talkback button. Hit it 30 seconds to let us know the question you would ask Kamala Harris.
Mr. T, what would you ask Kamala Harris tonight?
Okay, if you say you're going to raise taxes for the wealthy, how much are you going to raise them, and what's the threshold for being considered wealthy? Is it 400,000? What is it?
Very, very good question. Charity, you've got one question right now for Kamala Harris. What is it?
Just one.
One to start with.
Okay. When did you know that President Biden was no longer physically or mentally able to continue to run for president? And are you confident that he has the ability to serve out his full term?
I would ask her, how much do you distance yourself from Joe Biden? Tell me one thing that you would do differently that Joe Biden has not done in the last 4 years.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, because I
Both
mean,
of those are tough questions.
all
yes.
three of those questions, I think, I hope they get asked. We will hear from you coming right up. What questions would you ask Kamala Harris? We'll talk more about the upcoming interview, all the big stories of the morning as well. Charity's got those for you right here at the bottom of the hour. WOAI News Time, 525. Woohoo! So Steve Duraco in here driving today to Santa Fe, New Mexico. One day.
Watching while he's driving?
I hope not. I went to Santa Fe a couple of years ago. We stopped in Roswell and spent the night in Roswell the first night. And then
did you get probed?
We did not get probed.
Okay.
But Steve Duraco's a madman, so he's just driving straight through. His sister lives in Santa Fe, so he's going there for the
Labor Day weekend.
Oh, and he got me I'm going to wear it one of these days. He got me a cool jersey.
So it's a new jersey.
It's new, but it's not. But it is new. A Los Angeles Rams number 16 jersey.
Oh, wow.
And on back of it, it says Jarrett.
Oh, cool.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that jersey's from?
From Heaven Can Wait.
Yes. Yeah, I can't believe it. Wow. I can't believe
it. It was a great movie, by the way.
It's one of our favorite movies.
I love that
We were
movie.
ushers at the Central Park Fox Theater when
That's
it came
very
out.
cool. That's
So he
very
got
cool.
me. I'll wear it next week when I know he's watching.
Yeah. Very cool.
But we both said I'm going to go wear it at a sports bar. Nobody's going to know
Except
who
for
that
me.
is. But you
I
got
would
it.
know. I would know because I like that movie.
Tom Jarrett.
Yes.
Yes. Joe Pendleton was the original character played by Warren Beatty.
Yes.
And then he becomes Leo Farnsworth, the billionaire, and then Tom Jarrett.
Yeah.
Very good.
See, useless information like that I have a lot of.
Well, as do I. As do I.
You know, I might have seen that movie at the Central Park Fox Theater.
Well, we were
very
ushers.
possible.
That's where we
very
were.
Very possible because I think that's where we saw it at.
The summer it came out.
Yeah,
I remember it was a huge, long lines outside the building.
I remember it
movie.
was a big movie. Yeah,
I think it was summer of '77 or summer of '78.
77. Right. I want to say 77.
I would
think
too.
so. Yeah, I remember that. Wow. Also saw Fiddler on the Roof, or part of Fiddler on the Roof at that theater as well.
Wow.
Fell asleep. Long movie. I was a kid. My parents drugged me to that movie with my sisters, and I fell asleep. Yeah.
The release date, June 28th, 1978.
Oh, it was 78 then.
So,
okay.
yeah, but I knew it was 77
I was in
or
high
78.
school, so yeah.
But yeah, summer of 78, man. It was a huge hit.
Yeah, it was.
And a great movie.
Yeah. You know, I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I'll see if I can find it and watch it.
It's one of those when I'm channel surfing, if
it's
it ever
on,
shows up.
Definitely. Yes. Now, have you ever seen the original?
Yes. God, it's got a slightly different name. In fact,
yeah,
this will tell me. I'm on Wikipedia. Here comes Mr. Jordan.
Yeah.
1941, and he's a boxer.
Yes.
In that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because my dad loved old movies like that.
What was
that.
great after seeing Heaven Can Wait to see.
Yeah.
Here comes Mr. Jordan, and see
all
a
the
lot of dialogue, similarities.
Yes.
And, yeah.
You know what really keyed me is I don't remember any other number 16 Los Angeles Rams.
I got one for you.
Who?
Ron Jaworski.
Oh,
when the Cowboys in 75.
16. That's
NFC
right.
Championship game.
That's right. That's right.
Ron
that's
Jaworski.
Right. Well, see, he was a former Eagle, so I blocked him out of my mind completely.
My Siri just talked for no reason whatsoever.
Gonna get your job.
So do we stick with this at 5:40? I guess we do. It's the big story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Because we can talk about what we don't want to see,
Yes.
because there's a lot of things I don't want to see. I don't want them to dodge questions. I hate when they do that. And it seems to be a political thing to do that.
Yeah. I brought it up on Monday when J.D. Vance was on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. That's what he was not answering direct questions. He was, it was very
funny, Tim.
politician-like.
Yeah.
There you go, Sam.
I like that. Rooster. That's funny.
Tommy Miller emailed me to say no stream today. I will write him back and say, yes, there is.
Look, I saw him wear his shirt today. Tommy. Good morning, Lucinda. Happy Berry Eve.
Lucinda's going to Barry. Lucinda reposted our Barry interview
Oh, cool.
yesterday, which was cool.
Very cool.
We are going to rerun that interview tomorrow at 5:40 a.m.
Part 2. Tomorrow.
Part 2. But
Part
yeah.
2.
So on Barry Manilow Day tomorrow,
You will hear from Barry.
you'll hear from
himself.
Barry on this show. And Lucinda, you might want a lot of action on row 28 tomorrow night. And where is the storyteller, row 17? if
Something
he
like
shows
that.
up?
Yeah, something like that. I know.
Yeah, Lucinda, you should meet Kemper
Yeah.
and Jolene and Bob
Jolene.
and Cindy
Yeah.
and
Bob.
storyteller.
Yes. And whoever's with storyteller. We
Right.
don't know. He hasn't told us that story.
Storyteller's going stag just to
Troll.
see what happens.
Hello. It's a wonderful world.
Such an upgrade from the Neanderthal.
Amen.
Now, and granted, I am 0.5% Neanderthal, so I'm not casting aspersions on my people. However,
Yes, Sam. Yes. Here's Charity, everybody.
Your weather forecast for this Thursday: partly cloudy, a stray shower or storm possible, a high near 95. Tonight's low near 75. Right now, 73 degrees. Vice President Kamala Harris will give an interview on CNN tonight alongside her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The Trump campaign has been critical of her lack of interviews and press conferences since entering the race after President Biden dropped out, so they offered their own questions for her. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports.
Next session, there will be a push.
Kamala Harris's first sit-down interview since President Biden dropped out of the race. It would be a taped interview with CNN's Dana Bash. The Trump campaign was to help out, suggesting a few questions. If you are capable of lowering prices for Americans, why haven't you done it in the 3.5 years you've been in office? You say housing affordability would be a day one priority if you were elected. Why is it not a priority now? You co-sponsored Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. Do you still support these multi-trillion-dollar takeovers of the American economy? You talk about a lot about freedom. What about the freedom of Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, and Jocelyn Nangare? Why did you support executive actions like stopping construction of the border wall and halting deportations that intentionally unsecured the border?
The latest Fox polls have Harris leading Trump by 1 point in Arizona and by 2 in Georgia and Nevada. The former president leads her by 1 point in North Carolina. Arlington National Cemetery confirms a photography-related incident happened during a visit by former President Trump on Monday. NPR reported there was a physical altercation between Trump staffers and a cemetery official who tried to prevent filming and photographing in an area where recently killed soldiers are buried. In a statement, the cemetery said federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within Army, National, Military, national cemeteries, and added that it shared the law with Trump's team. Trump's campaign denied there being a physical altercation. Trump visited the cemetery to mark the third anniversary of the Kabul airport terrorist attack that killed 13 U.S. service members. A group of Texas Republicans want more religious instruction in public schools. Michael Board has a story.
Next session, there will be a push for legislation that will mandate the 10 Commandments be posted in all public school classrooms. State Representative Steve Toth says it will give kids context to their lessons.
When we see Martin Luther King's letters from the Birmingham jail, he quoted the book of Esther.
He called the Bible verse a historical document. Earlier this year, Louisiana passed a similar bill. It starts in January, but there's already been a flurry of lawsuits to stop it, saying it's akin to state-sponsored religion. Michael Board, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is creating a new political action committee to support the activities of the Senate's conservative majority. Patrick announced the formation of the Texas Senate Leadership Fund. The lieutenant governor said the Senate had led on issues like border security, education, and property taxes, and needs resources to help fulfill future goals. The Texas-sized heat wave we're feeling this summer can be deadly, especially for the homeless. Beth Myers reports.
The hot and muggy weather that's gripping Texas isn't so bad when you have a place to escape the heat, but for the homeless, there are health worries. Terry Belling with San Antonio's Haven for Hope Homeless Shelter says they're struggling to find room for all the people seeking shade.
We are at max capacity for overnight sleeping for single men.
A new report from the Texas Homeless Network says people experiencing homelessness are 200 times more likely to die from heat-related causes than sheltered individuals. I'm Beth Myers, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
A dozen people are now facing charges of firearms trafficking in the San Antonio area. Federal prosecutors said a years-long investigation led to 12 arrests this week, along with the confiscation of nearly 200 firearms. The suspects arrested were members of an organization that would steal firearms out of cars in the San Antonio region with a plan to sell them in Mexico. Well, travelers are gearing up to hit the road for the long Labor Day weekend. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more on the best and worst times to head out.
Labor Day weekend forecasts predict that domestic travel will be up 9% compared to last year. So, with more of us taking a trip, when's the best time to go? INRIX, which looks at transportation data and insights, says those going by car should avoid the afternoon and early evening hours of Thursday and Friday, when things are expected to be the most congested. Drivers heading out on Friday should aim to travel before noon or after 7 p.m. Saturday travelers should go after noon. Those returning on Sunday and on Labor Day should leave as early as possible to keep from hitting heavy traffic in the afternoon. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
It is 5:37 now with breaking crime news from around the country. Here's Nancy Grace. Traffic and weather together in a minute. But first, a check of your money and the world of business. We say good morning to Ed Corey live at the Bloomberg News Desk. right, thanks, Ed. News at the top and bottom of every hour, along with breaking news as it happens. I'm Charity McCurdy. Here's traffic and weather.
San Antonio's first news, Charity McCurdy, Mr. T, Tim Merriman, Charlie Parker with Those Were the Days in the next hour. Then he'll be with us in studio at 8:20 this morning. I'm Chris Duell. Coming up, we go back in time with Flashback. We'll also hear your questions. What questions would you like asked of Kamala Harris and even Tim Walz tonight in that CNN interview? And Charity, Mr. T and I were just talking off the air about it. You know, one of the facets of the interview, it's not live.
Mhm.
It is pre-taped, and it just makes you wonder how much editing CNN might do to this interview.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some insight from Dana Bash. Obviously, CNN is promoting this interview left and right. I want to get as much eyes on it as possible. And I'm hoping they bring in Dana Bash live to talk about just how much the interview was edited.
Or they could put the unedited version up on their website and let us go and watch the unedited version.
It's a great idea.
I think it would be awesome.
Yeah. Because and granted, and you brought this up yesterday, Charity, you know, they are touring. They might be on a bus when this interview takes place. We don't know that for sure yet, I don't think. So I understand logistically, it might make more sense to pre-tape it. But I think the electorate is such that we want to see a live interview.
Yeah.
We especially, she's waited so long to do this interview. It's going to have a lot more scrutiny. And I think part of the scrutiny should be, how did you handle these questions in real time?
Yeah, well, I guess you could say we're kind of getting a live interview in a debate form on September 10th on
true.
ABC News. But yeah, the fact that she is doing this joint interview with her running mate, Tim Walz, I think that's why there's more scrutiny. People expected her to go solo at this, although there have been joint interviews featuring both members of a presidential ticket before. I think Obama sat with Biden with 60 Minutes after Biden was selected as Obama's VP in 2008. Same thing with Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. And Harris and Biden did the same in 2020. So it's not unusual. But again, considering it's Kamala Harris and there's many firsts involving Kamala Harris, a lot of people were expecting her to sit down solo.
I want to change my question.
You
I
can
would
do
ask
that.
her, why is he with you?
Boom.
Boom. Why didn't you do this interview solo? That would be my first question.
Well, and as everything Charity just outlined, and I understand there is precedent for dual candidates in the interviews. I remember seeing recently Donald Trump and J.D. Vance sitting down together for an interview. But I think the fact that she has yet to have been interviewed
That's for the first interview.
as the
why not
nominee,
go solo? Yeah.
as a solo candidate and the nominee in this cycle. I know she ran in 2020, but she never was viewed as having a chance at winning that nomination. I think it's a big mistake on her part not to do this one solo. Second one could have been the sit down with she and Tim Walz.
I agree. And maybe we will get that solo interview because, there's going to be scrutiny based on what she says or how little she talks tonight in this CNN interview. And maybe she will bow to pressure and come out and do a solo interview sooner than later. I don't think it's going to happen before the September 10th debate, though.
That would be nice if it did, though.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what the reaction is across the country and on both sides of the aisle after tonight's interview. Coming up, we will go back in time with Flashback. We'll try to figure out what year we land in. You can figure out as well. Lots more coming. Then we're going to hear from you, your questions you want asked in tonight's interview of Kamala Harris. WOAI News Time, 545.
And we're back.
Woo-hoo!
I thought he was going to try to get this camera working.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
RK, Tim, Travis, Kemper, Sikapolin. Welcome in. And you should probably, when we're talking like this, go to the two shot, even though it's wide. I mean, I know we normally don't.
Those
But-
cameras don't work?
That's a good question.
Like that?
Boom. Excellent. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, I figure if you're listening, Andrew, since we usually dialogue right before the news, for today, since we have the issue, it kind of makes sense.
What happens when you go to this camera?
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah, so I talked to Ted about it. I was like, yeah, I guess there was feedback to come in and like figure it out. But yeah, otherwise, do you let you watch it out for the break?
Sure.
Like at this time, yeah, but I wonder, probably didn't try it, but I wonder if we just, because there's two cables, I wonder if we took one of these cameras off and replaced that camera with one of these, if that would work.
I don't think it, here's the thing, like if, I don't think it's a camera thing, I think that's all plugged in right. I think it's in the
Okay.
back. That's something
Okay. Okay.
That's the other side.
Okay.
Because we had to, the switch box, we had to completely like reset it.
Yeah.
So all of like the preset stuff that we had in there, I had to like replace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all those settings are